Hi, everybody, and welcome to Friday Fun Around the Craft Table. Today's project buttons. Do you remember when you were younger, or maybe your kids, and you played with Shrinky Dinks? It's exactly what we're going to use today to make our buttons. So let's get started. One side you will notice is shiny, and the other side is dull and scratchy. You're always going to want to work on the scratchy side, the rough side. So we are going to use some rubber stamps, but you could also draw, color, make your own design. Make sure that you're using a permanent marker, or this is permanent ink. This is StazOn ink. And like I said, you're going to want to make sure you do it on the scratchy side. Also, if you are going to write words or letters of some sort, you're going to need to practice writing backwards, because this is going to actually be the back side of the button. The front side of the button will be shiny glossy. Okay, so here we go. We're stamping some random images. You're going to want to keep in mind that the paper is going to shrink down about 20% of its size. So you're going to want to find something kind of big that's going to look good on a smaller thing. So you could see here that I have chosen 3 different designs. All stamped, or you could draw pictures. Just want to make sure that the ink is dry. Give it a couple of seconds to dry. This is a 1 3/4 inch circle punch. And you're going to want to make sure that you get as much of the design in the punched out area as possible. I suppose you could cut the circles out first and then stamp or draw on them. That's totally up to you. I find it easier to do it this way with a stamped image. Maybe if I was drawing, I would just punch out the circle first. Okay, so now we have our 3 pieces. We're going to make sure we flip them over so that they're all on the rough side, not the shiny side. Now we're going to add some color. I'm using alcohol markers. You want to make sure that you use something that's going to be permanent, not water-based, because if you put this on a shirt or on a bag or something, you're going to want to be able to wash it. And if it's water-based ink, it will run. The other thing that you're going to want to keep in mind is, because it's going to shrink so small, whatever color you put on there is going to get more concentrated. Probably at the end of the video, I'll show you a picture of my first set of buttons that I did. I didn't like the way they turned out. The colors were way too dark because I colored the whole entire area in solid. As you'll notice here, I'm just kind of putting some dots of color, some little spots of color, because then when they shrink down, they won't be so bold. I'm going to leave the circle design as is, and that'll just shrink down and be a black design. So you might want to also pick the colors that, like for example, these I'm doing light greens, and this is like a light purpley blue color for the flower. If I used a deeper purple, it's going to get even deeper when you shrink it. So you just want to kind of keep that in mind when you're designing it. Okay, and now that they're all colored in, we need a piece of scrap paper. We're going to cut out an extra circle. We're going to fold it in half one way and in half again. We're going to use this as our pattern to put the inside holes for the buttonholes. Okay, when you've got it folded in quarters, you're going to open it up just once. So that line in the middle just kind of helps you find the middle. And then you're going to use like a regular size paper punch. This is my Crop-A-Dile. I think it's like a 3/16 hole. I couldn't find the punch that I wanted, and I probably would have made these just a tad bigger. So now we've got something that looks more like a button. So we're going to use that to figure out where the buttonholes will go on our colored pieces. Keep in mind you want to make sure that the ink or whatever you use to color is dry. Otherwise, they're going to stick together and you don't want them to smear and smudge. Just stick your pattern right on top. So you'll see here that the one button must have been a little sticky because it stuck together a bit, but it didn't smear, so that's good. Now comes the fun part. We're going to use our heat tool and sort of chase it around. You'll see in a minute. You're going to want to keep the heat tool a couple inches up away from it, and you're going to heat it up. And as it heats, it's going to turn on itself and tumble, and it's going to look like a real mess. Don't worry about it. Trust the process. Um, you're going to keep heating it, and I'm sorry that you can't see it great. You're going to want to keep hitting it with heat until it turns itself flat. You could turn it over and heat it again, but you just keep putting heat on it until it turns flat. And then you could probably use your finger just to tap it down because sometimes the middle sticks up for a little bit. So you can just kind of tap down. Be careful, it's hot. Did you notice that? um, so, yep, just tap the middle down, make it flat. Okay, here we go with the second one. This one really got away from me. If you want to try to do it, you can also do it in the oven if you don't have a heat tool. There'll be instructions on the back of the package. You just want to keep an eye on it. It'll do the same thing. It will fold on itself and wrinkle and and stuff in the oven. So you're just going to want to watch it, and as soon as it starts to lay flat, you're going to want to take it out so you don't get it burnt and melted. But it's much more fun to follow it around. I probably could have put it like inside of a box or something. I put the tiles down to kind of protect the top of the table. What you want to avoid is using like tweezers or something to hold it because then it won't shrink right. So here's our buttons. So you also could imagine like cut something bigger and you could make, something for your keychain. You could make earrings. You could make, um, jewelry, a necklace, a pendant. So here you could see a little bit better where it started. There's our pattern, and it shrinks down to be about 20% of the size.